I think it's very, very smart because what you're doing is you're elevating the level of urgency attached to them. Not only do you have to worry about Brooklyn, you have to worry about legitimately positioning yourself to compete for an NBA championship. And Carmelo Anthony is a superstar scorer in this league. And so you can't regress to the realms of irrelevancy if you're the New York Knicks. You can't harken back to the days of old where you were close to nothing in terms of relevancy as a basketball team. You have to compete and you have to do the things necessary from a cap position, from a roster standpoint in terms of free agency, the draft, et cetera, to give this man every reason to believe that you are a franchise that he should look forward to committing to long term. It isn't smart, however, because Carmelo Anthony doesn't like attention to be brought to this, and he doesn't like to be in the eye of the storm. And this is definitely going to keep him right there as a member of the New York Knicks, because this story is not going to fade away at all throughout this season. They can't talk to him until February, and he's given them every indication, Skip, from what I've been told, he's given them every indication that he's not going anywhere, that he has every intent to re-sign with the New York Knicks. But if you remember months ago, right on this very show, I told you that he would entertain free agency, that the Los Angeles Lakers would be a viable option, that his lovely wife, Lala, obviously has aspirations of being in Hollywood, that he lives out there in the off season, and that it is definitely a place that he wouldn't mind entertaining going to. That doesn't mean he's going to do it, because the New York Knicks are in a position to offer him $129 million, whereas no one else can offer him more than 96. And Carmelo Anthony, just like he told me back in 2006, he loves his money. He had an opportunity to be a member of that free agent class in 2010, but he didn't want to do that. He signed a guaranteed 5-year deal for $80 million because he said, yo, I'm not leaving that kind of money on the table, whereas LeBron, Chris Bosh, D-Wade all signed deals with 3-year opt-outs that would enable them to be free agents in the class of 2010. He likes his money. He likes his security. But I will say this, that was before he married Lala. Lala is a businesswoman. She ain't just beautiful. She's incredibly smart and influential. He runs his household, please don't get me wrong, but he's going to listen to a beautiful woman that happens to be his wife, who's incredibly intelligent, I might add. Anything's possible.
Bottom line, I still don't like that Carmelo said this publicly. I like it that you reported it a long time ago, but that was you saying it, not Carmelo saying it. Stephen A., we know he is the leader of this basketball team. He is the superstar on this basketball team. And what he said, he spoke his heart, but he was a little too honest. And I do like your point, because now you just open that can of worms that we're going to have to keep opening all season long. He's going to get asked and asked and asked and asked about this because he answered this too honestly. I believe in his heart of hearts, it's almost like a childlike hope that, you know, I want to play the field one time in my career. Great. Just don't say so publicly. Stephen A., you're around New York a lot. You run into a lot of Knicks fans. I go back to New York on the weekends. I go in my building. I see the doormen. They're all Knicks nuts. And they're already asking me, is this the year for the Knicks? Hope springs. We're on the threshold of another year. And they're saying, please tell me this is our year. Against all odds, we're going to break through this year. And I say, well, I don't know. I try to be nice about it. But now they have to hear this from Carmelo. He's saying, yeah, at the end of the year, I'm going to play the field. It's such a downer. It's the wrong place, wrong time to say this, because it sends a bad message to your teammates. It's like we're not all united here, a united front. We're going to attack this year in ways we haven't attacked past years. But now Carmelo is already thinking about, yeah, I'm going to shot myself after the season. You could be right. I mean, you often are right about these things. He's probably in his heart committed to staying with New York. He does want to check out his options. And maybe L.A. will be an option for him. But don't make the fans hear that downer of a comment on the eve of another basketball season.
Well, what you have is what you would call you can call it the Dwight Howard syndrome. You can call it the LeBron James syndrome. You can call it all of those different things. Hell, you could call it the Carlos Boozer syndrome. Remember, he might have left Cleveland like a thief in the night to go to Utah, and I don't knock him for that because $27 additional million was on the table. But still in all, he wanted to be wooed before he ended up in Chicago. Chris Bosh wanted to be wooed before he ended up in Miami.
Sure.
Dwayne Wade wanted to be wooed before he elected to stay in Miami. LeBron James had the decision and turned it into a television show before he announced that he was taking his talents to South Beach. And now here comes Melo. What happens is that these individuals have become businessmen, conglomerates in and of themselves, corporations, if you will. And this is what the situation is. The more attention you bring to yourself, the more pursuers you bring to the table. The more people are working to pursue you, you never know what opportunities are out there to be presented to you that you could potentially maximize in the business world. These dudes ain't on Twitter for nothing. They don't have millions of followers for nothing. You think they're interested in communicating to millions of people, hearing their complaints or the little jabs or whatever the case may be? No. But the more followers you have, the more influence you have, the less you have to deal with the press, or so they think, and you are in a position to define yourself to some degree and manipulate how things are disseminated. This is the way they think. They'll never get around or be able to circumvent the fourth estate. Someday they'll wake up and realize that reality. That ain't going anywhere. But they certainly put forth their due diligence in trying to create that kind of persona and that kind of ambiance and vibe about themselves and their name. And this is one of the ways to do it. Carmelo Anthony is doing nothing but following the footsteps of LeBron, Bosh, D-Wade, Boozer, and all of those boys. The only individual that didn't do it and wouldn't engage was Kevin Durant, who just announced on Twitter, I'm staying in Oklahoma City. No suspense, no drama, no headlines, nothing.